Welcome back to another Supercoach Insider podcast. My name is Swiz, here for the last time of the AFL Men's Supercoach season. It's been an absolute pleasure coming to you each and every week talking about my team. But before we get into what is happening for round 24 and how I went for round 23, as always, check us out on all our social media platforms, in particular the YouTube and Spotify. And to get in contact with us, it is Twitter, Supercoach Insider 100 or Swiz26. Thank you to the Supercoach community for all your ongoing support, and in particular our sponsor, Splash Vodka. Giving a shout-outs, thank you firstly to the Centre Bounce and Jeremy for letting me fill in for them on Centre Bounce this week. It was while Joe is overseas on his travelling around the world. He let me take the reins. So yeah, that was a good fun. Always like talking footy on other platforms. In particular, talking footy on other platforms. It definitely was a lot of fun getting together at Crown the other day at the pub. So to Al, Tim, and all the other Herald Sun Supercoach guys, thank you for the invite. Always love talking footy. Great crowd that came out, in particular the Supercoach community and the content creators that were there. Outside the Supercoach Herald Sun boys, we had Dr. Supercoach, Supercoach DR, I think Spiller. So the Centre Bounce boys, there's quite a few other ones, and sorry if I've missed you, but great to always speak in front of a live audience. So hopefully we'll be able to do a few more of them, in particular next year, or even if it's the BBL. It'll be interesting. A few other fantasy games have opened up. So we've got the AFLW. It's not a Supercoach, but it is an AFL fantasy one. So I will be looking at that. I'll probably actually even might do that as this season, and you can follow what I'm going. I've been starting up all my research on that. So I played a little bit different to the old Supercoach, and because of just the way the scoring is in the women's game, there is some differences to how we normally play that, so that'll be a lot of fun. NBL Supercoach, not really my thing, but I'm going to have a crack at it anyway. For me, it'd be more for the BBL, and that's where I'll be definitely doing a lot more around that this year, so that will be a lot of fun. And I'm still doing my Premier League. We're 2 weeks into the Fantasy Premier League. I thought I'm not there yet to be doing probably content creating for all you guys yet, as I'm still continuing to get my head around how the best way to play the game and manage the game and stuff like that. But I was actually really happy with my score last week. I scored 71. Where am I ranked overall there? Overall 27,000. Which, and I'm not too sure. I know last year that something ridiculous, like 9 million people play or something like that. But yeah, so I'll take that. How far top spots on 205, and I don't actually know what my overall score is, but it's the thing with that, you get people playing wild cards, the triple captain, their bench. All that, so you kind of, as the season goes on, you get a better idea of kind of where you rank. But I haven't used any of that and been really good in starting Memboro. I've absolutely butchered that, and Wizard from Brentford. So I've been on them, and yeah, that absolutely led me to a fantastic score last week of 71. So no complaints here, especially the fact that I'm playing Sabilla over Gabriel in my defence. But that won't mean anything to our Supercoach community who do not play that. But yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with how that is going. In regards to actual Supercoach and footy Supercoach, 25-25 last week, which was good enough to win, I think, 6 of my prelim leagues. Lost to Nath, who's been having a fantastic season. He's there with us in the 18 league. My good mate Grimo, who spent all weekend telling me how it'd be the most amazing win ever if he somehow beat me, and then of course he beat me by 10 points. And what cost me was having English captain over Bont, even though English got more DT than Bont. English's third quarter at 75 points just smashed it, and that was unfortunate for me because those 44 points would have beaten him. But the other person that would have beat was my mate Riley from the Cricket Club League, so he beat me by 43 points. So if I had Bont captain, I would have beat him by a point and got through to that grand final too. So disappointing, but that's the way it goes. Like English, I thought was going to be a good captain's choice, 118. It's not too bad, but yeah, when Bont just goes absolutely nuts. But there wasn't a lot of other real big scores to really talk about. The one that really let me down was Sicily. Like, it's projected for a 125, just got the 83. And there's just moments, like I watched him drop an intercept mark, so it's not just that, then he misses the kick, and there was another just play that he could have got an intercept disposal, so that could have easily been 100, so there's 17 points there, and I beat Grimo. So just little frustrating things when you're watching footy live, and you're like, oh, really? Cal Mills has just been really disappointing, but outside of paying marriage and then moving around my forwards, there was not a lot I could do about that. But well, that is footy. So I actually dropped rankings even with the 25-25. Bont would have put me, as captain, would have put me about 470, 480, but in the end, score that and actually lose. I think it was at 18 points, 28 ranking points, something like that. On my ranking level. So 46 people ahead of me to get inside that top 500. So we are hoping it happens. So I'm going to loophole Darcy Cameron. I'm going to loophole Nick Martin. Really hope Matt Martin does something. And then if for whatever reason Darcy Cameron doesn't do well, Marriage or even Dunkley can go back into that forward line. But I think he should, and then it's just Nick Martin. I really hope Martin scores well, and then I can get rid of Mills off my team, and he can go sit on my bench. And Charlie Constable, who was meant to be playing all the reports today, but that was clearly a rumour that's gone wrong. So, yeah, and I am going to VC Timmy English this week. If you have English or Bont, flip a coin, VC one of them. Geelong has probably the worst Geelong team that they've put on the park in years. So Toby Conway is making his debut. And you know what English does against rookie rucks, but then also Bont is up against a midfield. And if you have a look at this Geelong midfield, even though the Dogs have not won down there, and I actually don't know how long it is, but it's like forever. And the fact that they did lose to West Coast last week, but their season is still on the line. They've got a midfield of Menegola, Atkins, and O'Connor with Conway, Dangerfield, and Holmes in the ruck. And the Dogs have also brought back Libber. So I'm backing Bont to have a really good game, but I'm actually going with English just up against Conway. I think he just dominates him. Originally, I was looking at one of the Adelaide players, but Dawson and Laird don't have anything to play for now that they've had that dodgy umpire's decision or gold umpire's decision go against them. So that has sort of changed things up this weekend. And then on the Sunday, Butters or Rosie, in particular Butters, like Richmond, I've been saying it all week, that this has got 2016 Richmond-Sydney written all over it when the Swannies up in the CG smoked Richmond. Chol made his debut. Wouldn't be surprised. This Richmond extended bench that's got, I think it's James Tziris, Tom Brown, those guys make their debut. It would not surprise me if they both get a gig. So Port have everything to play for. They've got to smash Richmond by a ridiculous margin to try to get themselves, catching up to either a Brisbane or Collingwood, especially if the Pies were to somehow drop that game to the Bombers. But I still wouldn't be surprised if Port do a number. So that's where I'm leaning towards there. Outside of that, with no trades, actually somebody told me the other day, I think Supercoach DR, I believe, mate, you've got a boost left but no trades. Somebody else sent me their team with 3 trades left with their boost. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. But so there's a few things there. Teams' ins and outs haven't been as brutal as I thought it was, but this is the thing. If you do have a trade up your sleeve this weekend, it's very handy because there can be late outs at any point, especially if a team is not playing for anything. And that could change, especially up to Carlton GWS, if results go a certain way and they've got the ability to then rest players. That could happen. Players retiring is always good. Crows, so what's Tex 10 behind? If you have a trade, Tex Walker this week is a really good shout. If Tex was to get ahead of Charlie Curnow could be a really good shout against the Giants as well. If these teams have got nothing to play for and they've got a chance to get one of their players a Coleman medal, definitely you want to be backing in one of those guys. Didn't work out so much with Jack last week in the retirement game. Ben Mackay did have a really good game on him, but also having a look at players who are on their last legs, maybe potential retirement games for them, or their trade value. So you like your Toby McLean, who hasn't played most of the year. Does he come in and have a really good game? You've got there's a couple other really fringe players I did see on here. The Bombers actually brought back Setterfield But there was a couple there that we'll talk. Menegola, that's one. Just if you had no one to trade in and you're looking at sort of like somebody to go, hey, here's I want to take a punt on this guy at 300,000 or something like that. He is potentially one there. The Bulldogs are very interesting because they've got out Bailey Smith and McRae. But so maybe like if you had no money or know what you could only trade sort of a rookie player, maybe you have a look at somebody like a McLean. But these one question actually I had was about Rory Atkins, about trading him this week. Well, he has been dropped, so that is a very easy answer if that was you. Oh, excuse me. Now, last week I did talk about the different rule changes that you may want in Supercoach. So I did pass some of them on to the Herald Sun boys. We did have a bit of a chat about it. The one that I really like, because this is because we play this in Fantasy Premier League, is the wild card. Now, at the moment, you can use 2 wild cards at any point throughout the season. One at the first part of the year and one at the second part of the year. If the AFL does bring in that bye situation, I've said it before and I said it on the Centre Bounce podcast, where you have the Sir Doug Nicholls round, the Indigenous round, they play that all over the country, have the bye, and then it's a one bye for everybody. Perfect world, they should start the AFLW season that blank week, but they have a trade period, then they have a mid-season draft, start the season the week after. One thing that is up for discussion is then Supercoach, you have a wild card, which everybody has access for that week, and you can reset your team completely up to the value that your team is worth at that point. So that would actually change the strategy, where maybe, like, for example, some people didn't jump on Ben Keys, or you might not jump on a mid-pricer normally, but maybe at coming around 7 or 8 and you see a guy who might be 300,000 who you only want to keep for 4 weeks or 5 weeks because you know they can go up to value, you potentially can actually start looking at those players to bring in. So that is one that's definitely been discussed. The idea of maybe an AFL fantasy version where you get the 2 trades every week, where and there's no sort of do I need to not trade in that big, just to keep people more active in the game, is definitely something that's looked at. We talked about Supercoach Gold, where potentially through that you could have a second team but not actually linked into the overall game, because that would change their terms and conditions, but there would be like a second separate league where maybe some of the money that you pay towards Supercoach Gold goes into a prize pool, and there's prizes around that, or maybe there's different leagues or something like that, and maybe even that Supercoach Gold League has different rules and strategies, so they might be just 30 trades for normal Supercoach, but maybe that's got the wild card, or that's got the 3 a week, or whatever. So I think the overall Supercoach game needs to be as fan-friendly as possible for people, just for the casual users. But if Supercoach Gold could have a separate thing where it becomes more for the hardcore fans, I'd really like to see that. So that's my personal preference. So it'd be interesting to see what they do around that going forward. But outside of that, that's pretty well all I've got to say from my team this week. But I will be back for doing some stuff next week in regards to AFLW, and as more news comes out at the weekend about how their teams. The good thing with that is AFLW's change, where the team announcements will come out on the Thursday night, not just the 24 hours before, which they did last year. So that'll be definitely a good change. And then also, Ben and myself, Chris, though, and thank you to everybody who's been messaging us saying when you're coming back together. We did talk tonight. We actually might even still be doing something tonight, but there's definitely some stuff as for the bye weekend for between finals that we will be getting together to do. So that will be exciting. So we will have some content on our way regarding that. And a couple other shout outs I need to give. Jade and Sienna dominating their local footy league, especially Sienna, who won her BNF for her local girls team. So I'm really proud for you girls. So we're really hopeful that we get some people that I know into the AFLW system coming through. We've got AFL Fancast as well. If you've got any questions for that, we'll be recording again tomorrow night. We'll definitely be doing some more stuff around the draft. So I know the boys at Hawk Talk and even Saints TV in particular have been talking a little bit more about that. So if you've got any questions regarding the draft or whatever, feel free to hit me up. Again, Twitter, Swiz26, and I can definitely bring that up on our run sheet and discuss that. But outside of that, good luck for your final week in Supercoach. Hopefully, it's a grand final win. If not, you get the ranking that you desire. And I am hoping to come back and say, yes, I got in that top 500. But outside of that, thank you. Enjoy, and we'll talk soon. Bye.